I'm just having a bad day. Won't happen again.
Amazon Prime Video's Reacher has become known for its no-nonsense storytelling, intense action, and a lead character who handles every problem with brains, brawn, or a mix of both. But when it comes to recurring characters, the show keeps things tight. In fact, aside from Jack Reacher himself, there's only been one face that keeps coming back: Francis Neagley, played by Maria Sten. Every time Reacher finds himself knee-deep in trouble, she's the one he turns to. So it's not all that shocking that Prime Video decided to give Neagley her own spotlight with a spin-off simply titled Neagley. While Reacher Season 3 wrapped up another round of intense crime-solving and brutal takedowns, Neagley wasn't present for most of the action. But in true dramatic fashion, the enemies came after her anyway, dragging her back into the fold. She quickly proved vital in helping bring things to a close, and now audiences will finally get to see what kind of chaos she stirs up when she's flying solo. We're still in the early days of this new show, but there are already some interesting nuggets. For instance, Stan and Alan Ritchson were spotted filming a scene at a real-life Cubs game at Wrigley Field. That's especially fitting, considering Neagley lives in Chicago. While there's been no official synopsis for that scene, fans are speculating it'll feature some of the playful banter we've come to expect. Maybe Neagley teasing Reacher into wearing a Cubs cap, and Reacher grumbling about his loyalty to the Yankees. As far as the premiere date goes, there's no official word yet, but since filming kicked off in February, and given the quick turnaround time for Reacher seasons in the past, even with strikes interrupting production, a late 2025 release feels pretty realistic. Now, unlike Reacher, which adapts Lee Child's novels one season at a time, Neagley will tell an entirely original story. That gives the writers plenty of room to build something fresh while keeping it in the familiar mystery thriller space. According to the show's early synopsis, Neagley finds herself investigating the suspicious death of a dear friend. This deeply personal mission sends her down a dangerous path, forcing her to use everything she's learned from her time as a military investigator and her time working with Reacher. One major difference is bound to be the tone. While Reacher is built around an almost superhero-level figure who can take on 6 guys with his bare hands, Neagley is more grounded. She's just as capable, but she leans heavily on her intellect and tech skills. Where Reacher might charge through the front door, Neagley is the type to figure out which window is unlocked, or plant a bug in the building before anyone knows she's there. It would have been nice if Reacher Season 3 had dropped some hints about the upcoming spin-off, but in typical fashion, it tied up its plot with a neat bow. There's no direct handoff here, no major cliffhanger that leads into Neagley. That said, the two characters' personal history gives the new series plenty of foundation to build on. So what about Reacher himself? Is he showing up? Of course he is. Alan Ritchson will make a guest appearance, likely at a moment when Neagley needs backup, just like she's done for him in the past. And let's be honest, Prime Video knows the power of having Ritchson's Reacher in a scene. His presence alone is enough to draw in casual fans who might otherwise skip a spin-off. Behind the scenes, Neagley brings together some familiar talent. It's co-created by Reacher showrunner Nick Santora and Nicholas Wooten, who previously worked with him on the CBS series Scorpion. Alongside Stan and Ritchson, the cast includes Damon Harriman, Matthew Del Negro, Adeline Rudolph, Grayson Holt, and Jasper Jones. So we're getting a solid mix of fresh and familiar faces. Now, what's really interesting is how Neagley is already sidestepping one of Reacher's most talked-about issues, the overpowered lead. From day one, Reacher has been portrayed as a near-invincible force of nature, and while that makes for great action scenes, it also makes it tough to keep raising the stakes. After a while, you run out of credible threats. Season 3 brought in Paulie, a massive opponent who gave Reacher a run for his money, but how many giants can the show realistically throw at him? Neagley, on the other hand, isn't a one-woman wrecking ball. She's clever, resourceful, and tactical. In Season 2, we saw her throw a punch when she had to, but in Season 3, when some assassins burst into her office, she didn't muscle through the problem. She used her environment, outsmarted them, and neutralized the threat without even breaking a sweat. It's that kind of grounded approach that sets her apart and gives the spin-off its own flavor. Lee Child, the creator of the Jack Reacher books, even had high praise for Neagley's script, calling it just as good as Reacher. Now that's a pretty strong endorsement from the man who built this world. Neagley's fighting style isn't about overpowering her enemies, it's about outthinking them. She doesn't leap into fights she can't win. She assesses, plans, and executes with precision. That shift in style opens the door to more realistic action scenes and new types of villains. While Reacher needs a new mountain to punch each season, Neagley can raise the stakes in more psychological or investigative ways. Plus, having a character who isn't indestructible adds tension. If you know Reacher is going to bulldoze his way through any problem, some of the suspense fades. With Neagley, there's a real sense of risk. She can get hurt. She can be outmaneuvered. And that makes every encounter more exciting. The lack of source material also works in the show's favor. Without a book to follow, there's no group of die-hard fans complaining that this isn't how it happened in the novel. The writers are free to explore Neagley's backstory, motivations, and relationships however they want. And because Lee Child never gave her a solo story, viewers are walking into this with fresh eyes and open minds. Still, it's worth noting that Neagley and Reacher have teamed up a lot in the Prime Video series, even more than in the books. In the novels, Reacher is a classic loner. He travels solo, works alone, and avoids forming deep ties. Neagley pops up occasionally, but their paths don't cross nearly as often. So by bringing Reacher into Neagley, Prime Video is continuing a trend that some fans find a little worrying, slowly turning Reacher into part of a duo. While the chemistry between Neagley and Reacher is undeniable, the spin-off needs to avoid making her dependent on him. If Reacher keeps popping up too often, it could undercut her development as a standalone lead. The show should aim to celebrate her strengths and give her room to shine on her own. At the same time, the door remains open for crossover episodes or one-off cameos. The best outcome would be a balance, Neagley stepping into her own while still being part of the broader Reacher universe. That way, fans of the original series get their fix, but Neagley can also carve out a loyal following of her own. So while we wait for an official trailer and release date, one thing is clear: Neagley isn't just riding Reacher's coattails, it's ready to take the spotlight and maybe, just maybe, steal the show. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one.